Good evening, John Curry here from the Beeston Film Festival. I'm the festival director. I'm so excited that the eighth film festival is going to be happening in a few short weeks here in sunny Beeston. This year's collection of international short films more than ever astound me in their quality and imagination. I said over 120 films from over 30 countries. And for the first time in 2 years, we are going to be in person. Yes, the dreaded COVID, after wreaking such havoc, has moved on. So it's great to see. And not only that, we will also have the benefit of the first time being in a multiplex right at the heart of Beeston, the Arc Cinema. So really pleased to have that coming forward. So what we've got tonight for you is what we call the preview program, and it's hard to describe everything that is going to be going on in our little world of our festival. We've got hours and hours of great films, but what we have attempted to do is conjure up a short program where we're going to be introducing and talking to a number of film directors, talking about their films and their aspirations and their dreams and what they're looking for out of the Beeston Film Festival. Overall, it'll give you a fantastic sense of what's going to be happening over the festival, and we can't wait to see you there. So over to my fantastic team of interns from Nottingham Trent University, who will work so hard and so diligently and so professionally to bring this film together. Let's roll them.
Is Tony home?
Sisters, let's go down, come on down. Oh, sisters, let's go down in the river to pray.
We're looking for Tony Woods, who used to live across the road. Do you know him?
Tony? Yeah, I know Tony. I used to clean for his mum. Got himself into a bit of trouble, I heard.
So I've actually been working in advertising for the last, bit more than a decade, making commercials, basically selling my soul for whiskey, lipsticks, you name it. So I've been making adverts for a long time.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to move into making narrative stories,
Okay,
and
amazing.
lockdown was the time to write the script and get it done. But yeah, I've been working with cameras and directing shoots for a very long time, but just none of my own stories until now.
Oh wow, amazing. Okay. My second question would be, can you tell me about your film and the inspiration for it?
Oof, yes, that's a good one. So the story is actually my personal story, and it's based on the truth of when I reached 30, I never knew who my father was, and I decided I kind of got the courage, because it was quite a difficult thing to do, and I got the headspace to go and hunt him down, and I took my best friend with me, and we went on this crazy adventure, and eventually at the end of it stood the dad that I'd never met, and I'd never seen a photo of him. I just knew his name. I didn't know anything about him, and by the end of that evening I was standing face to face with a man that I thought about for a very long time. So that was the story, and then the film Finding Dad is actually shot in the very same places that I went to look for him.
That's incredible.
And the houses we go to are actually, that's my grandmother's house, who I never met. Sadly, I was too late. And where the final scene is shot in my dad's lounge.
The biggest challenge, obviously, was that it was conceived, developed, produced, shot during COVID. And we're talking about during the very height of COVID as well, 2020. And we were able to put it together and shoot just before Christmas, which is when we had that sort of second major lockdown. So I would say that was the obvious biggest challenge, which we overcame. quite brilliantly. We didn't have a single case of COVID during the pre-pro and during the shoot. One case took place just afterwards, thank God, and it was isolated to just one case. So that, I think that was just absolutely amazing. We definitely had angels on our side, and we had angels on our side all the way through this production. Actually, Lana and I have really joked and used this expression of, what have we always said? It's just been a magic. It's just been like magic, hasn't it? Everything is magic. Come together. The other challenge, of course, is that it was a small budget for what we achieved. We managed to get a really pretty big crew for what it was, and some really just, the equipment was quite extensive. We had 5 days of shooting on location. The locations were essential to the storytelling of this, because this is exactly where Alana had gone the previous year to actually find her father with her best friend. So we went back to exactly the same locations, asked their permissions. Obviously, they recognised her from being there the year before and were just delighted to jump on board and help out, and to apologise for being so cagey on the first time round. But I think those were the challenges. And we also had a number of talent. We had something like 25 cast members, which is a lot. So for a first venture into filmmaking for both Alana and myself, you can't really compare doing ads within a production company, with an advertising agency, and having this big machine behind you. You can't compare that to what we achieved 2 years ago. Am I right in saying 2 years ago now? That's insane. No, a year ago.
Shooting 2 years ago, finished it 6 months
ago. Yeah.
Not even.
So those were the challenges, just dealing with a small budget and what we were able to get out of that. And then just dealing with COVID, which was a complete nightmare. And it was very, very, very cold as well.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
Is there anything else you want to add to that, Lance?
I think you've done a splendid job. Just to reiterate, COVID, Christmas, freezing cold, kids, dogs.
25 cast members
on a live East London estate. This was not a controlled studio, and there were people driving in and out. There were people coming through. Yeah, it was expensive equipment. You name it, we dealt with it.
Exactly. Want to disrupt the events of the day, but we had just a sublimely brilliant and talented and good-hearted and spirited crew. So you're able to navigate those kind of problems when you've got good people. It doesn't really come down to experience; it comes down to who you are as a person, how you're able to interact with fellow human beings and calm them down. And we were able to do that. And sometimes it wasn't even people whose job it was to do that. They'd see something coming up and there might be a little bit of a discourse that was about to take place, and it was just tempered really well. So, it was pretty much fraught with challenges, but we coped with all of them really good, with good humour. We really enjoyed ourselves. It was a real family effort. Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you for that.
2 more turtles, saved from a choking hazard.
Cheek of that hippie girl, though.
2 more birds with stomachs unclogged.
She doesn't have to answer to shareholders, hit targets, justify her own existence.
Together we can, and we will change the industry's relationship with our planet.
Can you tell me about your film and the inspiration for it?
So, Paper Straws definitely comes from a place of rage inside me. It's about corporate greenwashing and the way that, we're kind of being hoodwinked into thinking that the onus for climate change is on us, the consumer and the employee, when in actual fact, we collectively can't do a thing if these companies don't change their behaviour. BP is making record profits, but still, despite all their campaigning and advertising, less than 1% of their profit is going into transitioning to green energy. We're powerless. by ourselves. We have to get them to act as well. I think it's also about that kind of generational dilemma between living a moral life and living a life, that I kind of wanted to make the point that it's not wrong to get by in life. It's not wrong to want to be able to live without being in constant worry about your financial situation. So, you know, I think again that it is so expensive to be eco-friendly, and it doesn't have to be. This is kind of a con that's been sold to us. We're being exploited for our good values. So I just wanted to highlight that, really. As for how the film came about, I made a pitch to the Roundhouse's Last Word Film Fund and won a £500 grant to make the film. We were meant to film in March 2020, but about a week before we shot, the first lockdown happened and everything had to be cancelled. And then for the next 12 months, there were probably about 6 false starts, getting all the crew rallied, trying to, you know, sort the production out and get it on its feet, only for it to be knocked down again and again and again. So it was only in March 2021, a full 12 months later, that we actually managed to film the film and actually make it happen.
Well, so my next question would be, do you have a favourite part in this film? Is there a bit you particularly like?
I guess my favourite part of the film is probably what I imagine would be the most emotive part of the film, the most controversial part, which is at the end of the film, the protagonist, Acacia, makes the decision to take the job, even though she knows it's not what she thought it was. The company's not as caring or moral as she thought it was. And that's because I want audience members to be split over how they feel about it. You know, it could be seen as her trying to change things from within. It could be that she is just giving up on her values and doing what's right for her. I guess I wanted to inspire a bit of debate, you know, because I don't have an answer. And I think that's what film is all about. It's about starting a conversation.
Amazing. Wow, thank you. So final question is, how important do you think film festivals are to your career?
Well, this is going to be the first film festival that I can actually attend IRL, because my films previously were all meant to screen in festivals that were cancelled due to the pandemic. So that remains to be seen. I'm very excited to meet lots of people. I want to, you know, meet new people, find new opportunities, and see what happens. So I hope so is my answer.
The world's gone nuts. Shake your thighs, shake your chunky butts. Let's all dance together while the world's gone nuts. Show your funky style, show your funky struts. Let's all dance together while the world's gone nuts. Shake your thighs, shake your chunky butts. Let's all dance together while the world's gone nuts. Show your funky style, show your funky struts. Let's all dance together while the world's gone nuts. Time is up and the is down. From the dollar to the shekel to the euro to the pound. Text it, flex it, rocket man.
My first question is, how did you get into film?
So when I was 10 years old, I saw the making of The Dark Crystal by Jim Henson, and I was totally inspired, and I went in my basement and I built a bunch of puppets, and I started to try to make my first movie. And after that, I just kind of kept on making movies in high school, and built entire airplane sets in my basement, and did hijacking films and all that kind of stuff, and so went from there.
So were there any particular challenges in making this movie?
The main challenge with the film was that there was, we took so much footage of the squirrels, and we had to really attempt to kind of use each of those positions to create, different scenarios for different scenes. So, for example, for the dancing scenes and stuff like that, I would have to use the upper half of one squirrel and then the lower half of another squirrel, and then composite them together so that they're twisting in different ways. And so that was one of the biggest challenges. And my wife did a good job of helping to kind of control the squirrels of what they're doing and where they're going and stuff.
Oh, fantastic. So do you have a favourite part in this movie? Do you have a particular part you like more than the rest of it?
Well, I definitely love the part with where it shows the entire world. All the different flags and all the different, that was definitely a lot of fun. And I also really like the rap part, just because there's just so much information and so much news all, in a really quick span of time. It was fun.
Yeah, brilliant.
I was baptized in the fountain of youth. I was scrutinized for telling the truth. There's a scandal going on around here. Are reflections looking back in the mirror. Did I mention I was losing the tooth? I got to move on.
Alors on va passer l'étape des reproches à la con, des excuses bidons et des discussions sans fin.
My first question for you would be, how did you get into film?
It's an original story because initially it was an editor was contacting me for writing for a comic book, and I hadn't any time at this moment, so I refused this work. But he sent me an example of what he was expected, and it was this. It was a synopsis. It was this little story I have chosen, and I have tried to put on screen after on make a film.
Fabulous, thank you. So can you tell me about your short film and your inspiration behind it?
There are multiple inspiration behind the film. At first, I'm really interested by human emotions and everything about psychology, etc. And it was what we call in psychology the phantasm of revenge. It's something very common, very universal. If you are betrayed by somebody, you want to kill him or to kill her, and it's a natural feeling. Of course, normally you don't, you don't do that, but who knows? And that's why it was an interesting subject to work with this subject and try to make a film about that. But more cinematographically speaking, behind the film, I'm really inspired by independent American cinema, and especially Quentin Tarantino, but also by Asian movies, especially Korean ones, like Kim Ki-duk movies, etc. So it's a melt of many inspirations, essentially Asian and American.
How important do you think film festivals are for your career?
Festivals are really important for me, and I think for all filmmakers. This is, of course, at first this is we do movie for having a public, so we do the film for the public. So it's so important that the public can watch the film. Just basically, I like to be present in the festival for meeting the people. The real spectators. It's really important, and after that, it's important because it's a way for making networking, etc. So it's a good place to do that. And of course, for us, for doing the next film, it's important to have a festival recognition.
Yeah.
So really, so for many reasons, it's important. It's a good moment after all, of course.
So can you tell me about your film and the inspiration behind it?
Yeah. So Ghost Girl came from the inspiration behind it was kind of the struggle that I think a lot of people can relate to as an artist between doing what feels true to your art and who you are, and having to face the practical realities of life and trying to make it and get by. Particularly, I was interested in exploring kind of the way different class elements play into this and how people from different backgrounds have different circumstances when they come into a field like this. Because I don't come from a family with money, and I'm surrounded by a lot of people who do, and I can see the differences in the way we approach different situations.
Fabulous, thank you. So my next question, is there a particular part you really, really like?
Particular part of the film that I really like, I really like kind of the centerpiece moment of the film when the two characters kind of move into the kitchen and sort of dance with each other while also talking with each other, because it for me is kind of like one of those moments as a director where you're watching it unfold and it's kind of exactly how you imagined it, in terms of like the vibe of the space and the performance and the camera movement, and that it all feels like it's in sync with each other.
Yeah.
And so it's just really satisfying when you are able to do that and it works, because so often we try so many things in filmmaking where it doesn't work and you have to adapt. But it's nice when you do something that you had in your head and then it works.
Fabulous. So last question, but how important do you think film festivals are to your career?
Film festivals in general, I think they're really important for my career from the standpoint of being an independent filmmaker, because otherwise I'm not sure how people would see my work. And if they don't see your work, they can't connect with it, and they can't connect with you, and it's hard to build a career without that. And I think that specifically, I have never had like a breakthrough moment at a specific festival, but it's the accumulation of small interactions and various people seeing my films that have kind of led me to new opportunities over the years. So I think festivals are really important for independent filmmakers.
So the inspiration for this film, 3000, is actually coming from a line in Avengers when Iron Man talked to his daughter, says, "I love you 3000," and that just kind of keep me thinking like, oh, what does that mean? Like, I love you 3,000 times. And so I have this idea, it's like a couple and they fall in love continuously like for 3,000 times and repeat. So what would it end up to be? Because for humans, it's like 100 years mostly, and then you're gone. But for them, I wonder how this relationship will turn out and how their love will look like.
Fabulous, thank you. And then Shirley, a question for you. How important do you think film festivals are for your career?
I think film festivals are really crucial for a filmmakers in their path because showing at film festival, first of all, is a big win for the filmmaker because their work is getting recognized by their peers, and also getting meeting with other filmmakers at the festival is also very important. Because there might be other possibility of collaborations and all that in the future. And also just learning and knowing the audience reaction when they're watching is really important. It gives us an idea of what worked and what didn't work in the film and help us be a better filmmaker in that way.
Fabulous, thank you so much. And then Chin, question for you as well. Do you have a favourite part in this short film?
In this short film, my favorite scene will be when two of them in the bathroom, like taking a shower and kind of holding each other, and they're trying to figure out whether they're going to kiss or not. Because at this point, it's like at the very end of their relationship, they're trying to figure out like whether they should kind of kill each other or just, both shut down and make it to an end. And that's the part where I think it's most beautiful, and it makes you feel all kinds of feelings. Yeah.
Fabulous, thank you so much.
Great. Eleanor, that was an absolutely fantastic set of interviews, and I really appreciate all the effort you've put into making this program. It was really great to hear from the directors and the writers of these films, sharing a little bit more detail about their motivations and their experience and challenges in making films, and of course as well what they think of film festivals. So not only did we go across genres as well, we've actually managed to go across countries and continents. So that is very much what the festival is about, international short film festivals across many genres. So I think that's been a wonderful sample set of what we have to offer in the 8th Beeston Film Festival. So just thinking about your own reflections on conducting these interviews, Eleanor, I mean, what do you think about the quality of the films that we've selected for the festival?
I think you've got a very wide genre, which I think improves the quality immensely, because you're not just watching the same thing. And again, with it being a global spread, I think also you get to see people's different outlook on the genre they're trying to connect with. So I think the quality, as in how broad it is amazing firstly. But there are high-profile actors in some films. They're very widely spread, and the directors, they've really, really thought about their films and the effort going in. I know quite a lot of them. We've got one director, it took him 3 years to write the script. So people have really put a lot of effort into this, and I think that really, really shows through on their work. You can see that it's high quality because it's been either done over and over again or improved. So yeah, I think overall we've got a very high quality of films.
Yeah, year on year. I mean, we've over the past couple of days, I've had some feedback from our jury who are currently cogitating on who could be the winners of the Oscars this year, and the feedback from them has been, yes, it's the best collection of films that they've had. Some of them have been involved for the last 7 or 8 years, and that's wonderful feedback to have. Because I know part of the programming team and how we run things, that's our feeling. We think this is fantastic, and we know how many wonderful films that we've had to say no to because there's not enough room in the schedule. We could make the festival twice as long with all the wonderful films that we have, but that's not going to happen. So it's great. And I'm just wondering as well, I know you're seriously interested in the film industry, but when talking with these filmmakers, were there any sort of surprises? Any things that you heard that you'd learned from talking to these filmmakers?
Well, I guess the industry, from an outside perspective, has always looked very glamorous. And obviously, as a student, I've been focusing on like the big companies where I could go. But speaking to a lot of independent filmmakers, I know it sounds basic, but you can see that low budget films, it's hard to run on a budget. And I think that's something that got picked up in probably the majority, I'd say a good 90% of the interviews. Everyone was saying that, they had to adapt this because of the money, or they got a grant and, they had to add on top of it. So I guess it's not a surprise, but one thing I've learned is if I was to eventually go into the independent film industry, that you need a lot of financial backing.
Yeah, okay. Well, good luck with that one. So I think we've really pretty much come to the end of the preview program.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've witnessed some trailers of some great films and got some insight from directors, and gives everyone a great sense of the quality and diversity of films that we have coming up to the 8th Film Festival, which, of course, tickets are for sale. Yay! So you can go to the Arc Cinema at beeston.arccinema.co.uk for getting your in-person tickets, and go to our Eventbrite page if you want to watch it online. So we'll put some details in the show notes below, if I remember to do them. I will remember to do that. Thank you once again, Eleanor, for putting this program together. It's fantastic.
Thank you.
And let's look forward to the film festival. Any closing words from you, Eleanor?
Just a word to all the directors. Firstly, you've done an amazing job, and to anyone who's watching this either online or comes to the festival, hope you immensely enjoy it.
Brilliant.